today we're going to design database schema for a catalog product, and then we try to use REST APIs and GraphQL and all the other type of API which exist in the web development and web services, which we oftenly use in my run the page we oftenly use to set up to make app and web app functional data and all that kind of things. So today we will do. So first of all, we try to understand the whole setup in a database in something that I use. I prefer using drawing this kind of thing. So first of all, we're gonna have a database which will be gonna be like, it will be using Postgres because of NoSQL structure. JSON we can go get a very structured and we can very dynamic thing. We can be used for dashboard display and storing billions of data, and like different dynamics of data can be stored in a Postgres without any interference. And like I have to face my this is something that I used to do. And then Postgres NoSQL JSON and the reliability it gives you reliability factors and scalability and flexibility as well. Flexibility, and then we are going to choose API. REST API we're gonna choose it because this is a very optimal thing to be chosen for a majority of web services, and because of the protocols it provide you, it's very simplified, and the most of your use case scenario will be fulfilled by your REST API protocols. And we are not going to use GraphQL and all that kind of things because it gives you bunch of every API and every protocol has some drawbacks and to make everything you have to forward every drawbacks and everything accordingly. So I'm choosing not GraphQL and all that kind of things to be done. And a database is authenticated, API is authenticated, and security endpoints we're gonna have JWT token or OAuth be used for that, because JWT token is very basic token based scenario, which is manually set up for security purposes and to create tokens based on the credentials you have on your app or database, not on the Google signups and Google Gmail account. So this will be very drawback for a app and web app for set up in the JWT solely based on the credentials rather than setting up in the Google account form, which will give you very handy experience for the user. You don't have to create an account for to generate tokens. Basically, they can log in by using a Gmail account, by using OAuth or Google Gmail account, Google security. So this is the OAuth, JWT not. There is kind of setup protocol. API we're going to use Pagination. Pagination will be dependent on the screen scroll behavior. After scroll it's gonna increase the number of pagination value in the query. If your board is been reached to the point where it has to trigger a incremental value of pagination, then it will be increase the value of incrementation in the query, and if you're going to fetch the data after that. So this is something which we're gonna use in designing the database schema and the protocol. And obviously to move this API we're gonna use protocol. Another protocol will be like HTTPS. There are different kind of protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, UDP, SMTP, and all kind of things, which helps to move this kind of all the APIs from one place to another place very effectively and very efficiently. And we use this kind of protocols according to the needs, like to sending text value and texture and the information from one place to another place. We openly use HTTP as a very reliable and effectively method to like transport this information from one part of computer to the other part of computer. So this is something that's the broad analysis, there's a broad view how this the backend setup is going to look like. Yeah, this is the protocol we decided, like database has been done, API has been done, security has been done, protocol has been done, and the performance and the framework which is going to use for the backend to like operational value, build a logic businesses. We're going to use a language. We're going to use Go for sure, because it gives you the dynamic perspective of threads. Like it gives you a very handy, like you can perform a very high performance task and threads and functions and very large that requires a very high compute power in your web server. Go is a very optimal and a very optimized version language, gives the developers to like perform very broad and a very complicated function in the web services, which is that's why we're going to use Go, because it's also secure your future reliability perspective. Like if you have to increase the compute power in the upcoming days, in the upcoming year, according to the scalability of your web app, you can actually go for the Go to like Go will give you the dynamics and the parameters to like scale your web app, the numbers you use accordingly. But in other programming language, you cannot get this kind of dynamics in like increasing scalability, reliability, and flexibility. And like Node.js cannot give you the scalability as per the increasing in number of users and all kind of things. So we're gonna use Go as for sure. Rust is also an example, but we're gonna not use Rust because it does not have the libraries to support the large web services. That's a simple my biased information, which is not being also true, but I feel I'm saying everything is true. I'm sorry, I'm not looking like a good human being because I have some health issues right now, but I will try to figure out. I will be looking. Sorry, what I'm trying to say. Okay. So this is something that we figured out now. We're going to design a database schema based on these parameters we have drawn now. Let me check. Now we have like decided the factors of the decision making that we want to use, what kind of things we're going to use, and all a bunch of things. Now we're gonna design the database schema, which is essentially the purpose of this video, making this live stream. And before the principles we follow to design a database schema is like we tend to see things from the front-end perspective lens. Like if something is being shown to your mobile app and web app, it has a structured database schema back in the backend, so that it is being shown to you. Like if I wanted to give examples for you to like how database schema make your thing very structured, so think like YouTube. Let's take examples of YouTube, how YouTube thinks, how YouTube let's take an example of something. Sorry. Copyright free video. Okay. So this is copyright free video. So this I got. So everything is being shown here is very dynamic, it's very something that it's a database schema, its title it's gonna have, and then the number of likes it have, and then comments, bio it gonna have, and then comments it's gonna have. So it's a database schema that has been designed and drawn in the background to make this very structured, look very structured, and to make operation and very effectively in this kind of data which we saw in the web app and web services. So this is something that database schema provides you about the system and all of kind of things. But I will try to suggest, I will try to make you understand how it's very effective and very good things to be like considered about schema and all of kind of things. So let me just give me a second. This is something. Okay. No, good. This is something that I have to like erase it. So if we try to design something which is very biased to like user and products and services, this is the thing I wanna suggest you to like look like to this account. Like for example, web services have this is the dashboard, this is the navigation bar, and let's suppose it's the web services and web services have a the point. No, this is something I was trying to say you like. For example, this is the web services of the front end part, and it have it this part of the front end have like users display by a image that is being that hero users. Okay, ठीक है, and then it has title, users title, and then it has number of list of products. Like this is a product and it has a button, add and then buy, and then it has a name and image and replication of this component via map function. Okay, so how it gonna actually look like in the database schema if we try to understand? So it would be look like this. It is this for JSON, and then it's gonna have hero, and then the value, and then the title, and then the value, and then and after this is the details, which is gonna be in the array, and then we're gonna get products, and then number one, title, image, button, and then offer. So this is how front end and the database schema are correlated in between, and you have to understand it is a very important thing to like decide and make things to make a web app and web services functional, because if the database schema is not very structured and if not is very design effectively and accordingly to the user use case of the businesses and the users, it's gonna create a lot of problem in the future perspective, and it is a very crucial part of the building web services and web app. The database schema, it's the most important part. You have to design it very conventionally. Otherwise, it is something that can affect a very large sum and a very large chunk of the business and the logics of apps and web apps and startup. Or you just say businesses. So this is something which is very to consider very effectively. So this is something which is very to consider very effectively. Add and then buy, and then it has a name and image and replication of this component via map function. Okay, so how it gonna look like? So this is something I tried to understand, like how to make this kind of things to be like look very effectively and look very efficiently, but this is something that I was missing from a very long time, but I am not saying it's now. I'm trying to decode and like tear down all of computer behind the scenes of designing a database schema and the structure that gonna go through to like make things happen in the web services and the backend as well. So this is something that you have to get a lens in your eyes to like when you see some components and when you see some apps and web apps, you have to like decode everything like acha, this is type of schema that they are using, this is type of data they are trying to fetch, and this type of component that they are making, which is very dynamic and very things to be like considered. So this is the behind the scene of database schema. Now we're going to talk about how we orchestrate AI and APIs and web services very effectively. So I just want to take a break.